Hello and welcome back to my channel for episode 10 of our experimental series in which my sim self is living out two parallel lives in an attempt to prove or disprove whether the law of assumption really has a part to play in our life. When I first start making a video, I never know exactly where it's going to lead me. I think this makes it more fun both for myself and the viewer as we are on a journey together to discover what is coming next. So in today's episode, I know I will be playing with our sim in parallel reality 2, that I need to build her a shed for an art studio, and that I will be playing her till the Friday night in game, at which point we can check out how she compares to her twin in parallel reality 1. What I do not know even myself at this point is whether this will be the final episode for this particular series. The point of the episodes has been to prove how our assumptions create our reality and how every one of our choices leads down its own particular path and story. I think our two identical Sims have already proven that the law of assumption is more than just a theory. However, it will be painful for me to let them go in favor of my two new series that will be starting soon on this channel. So let's dive into their world and see what's up before deciding conclusively whether to bid them goodbye. Last time we left our sim enjoying a leave day from work, and it is already Thursday afternoon, so we have little time left to build her an art shed by the deadline that we set last time. So the first thing she did this time round was finally max out her painting skills and create a really sweet pop art painting that I just might have her hold on to and decorate her house with for good and never sell. Although I've had her hold on to quite a few paintings up to now, that was mostly in order to have a few on hand if she gets to open an art shop. However, I forgot all about that, so I asked her to sell a couple more pieces at the end of this episode, just before the compare and contrast section, which will see her advancements compared to those of her twin. She had quite a brush with death in the last episode, if you recall, and it seems to have left her with a new zest for trying things out. So now that her painting skills maxed out, she's looking to start learning a new skill, and I thought yoga might be something that should not take up much of her valuable tiny space, whilst also being sort of in line with her artsy character, or would that be a stereotype thing to say? Turned out that her home had no space even for rolling out her mat, another indication that her art studio needed to move, and quickly. So I started on her new shed, which again turned out to be quite tricky to place. I decided to put it on the left side of the back of the house because I don't exclude making a small animal shed or chicken coop to the right side and some kind of garden. So at first I placed it too close to the border, which did not allow me to make a roof that matched the one for the house, and I even had to move her washing line. Why she's still hanging out the washing to dry when she has a tumble dryer beats me, unless she's figured, as I have in real life, that most clothes tend to shrink in the dryer. In the end, what worked was to build a shed but with a roof that adjoins the one of the house, and it looked quite good, if I may say so myself. And it also covered the area where she hangs out the laundry, so it was a win-win. I finished the outside walls to match the house and used the same wooden strips to coat the interior of the wall, but without the stone design on the bottom part. My idea was to make it seem as though it is a wooden shed which is not painted at all on the inside, since it is technically a budget-friendly room. I even left the concrete flooring that was automatically generated for the enclosure to again continue building on the idea of a shabby make-do look. My one deviance from this idea was the awesome door that comes with the movie Hangout stuff pack, which I really love because it features this really unique door which seems to have been painted on, another nod to my Sim's character and what she would choose. As you can see, this shed is way bigger than the attic where we were originally going to put her studio. And thanks to the size and having space, I got to try out some items from the artist studio kit, which I'd never done before, including a woodworking table, since my sim loves creative activities so much. It took a lot of moving things around to find a way she could actually use this makeshift surface from the artist pack to make object drawings with the paint by reference option. quite unrealistically, but also in line with how The Sims photos usually work, it was not possible to put the reference objects directly across from the easel, as the view would be blocked by the easel itself. So I had to turn quite a few things around to place it very much to the right of the easel at the end. Whereupon my sim finally painted what I believe might be my first ever paint from reference painting in The Sims 4, and it looks quite cool, and I love how it turned out. This particular version of our sim is now very much on a defined path. As you might recall, she started out in the exact same life as her twin, even including her first job choice. However, she changed her assumptions about art and making it as an artist, so with her aspiration points going up really fast, it was time to now get her the marketable trait, which is very aligned with her chosen path and career. Her little plots with veg and fruit are thriving too, and I can't remember the last time she had to shop for groceries, so I think she could easily soon start selling her own, as her counterpart in the version 1 is doing to supplement cash. And at this point, it is time to have a look at how our two Sims compare, or how you can't even compare their lives at this point, I would say, would be more accurate, to be honest. Our sim in version 1 ended the Friday night with 141 simoleons in her bank account. A tier 2 tiny house worth a little over 16,000 simoleons, and an okay job as a live chat support agent, making 31 simoleons an hour. She is no longer unhappy at her workplace since changing her career, and more upbeat than she used to be in general. However, she is still miles behind as compared to her twin, who is ironically the one worried that time is running out for her in life. The sim in version 2 now has quite a few thousands in her bank account, mostly thanks to selling her high quality paintings. Her tiny house is slightly bigger and at a much higher value than that of her counterpart, at almost 26,000 simoleons, partly in due to the high cost of adding the art studio. Her regular day job gives her satisfaction, and she is going up the career ladder fast, but it still pays only 44 simoleons an hour, which is very low for her proficiency and dedication, and compares badly to if she were to just spend those same hours working on paintings to sell. If you are still here, and especially if you have been invested in our Sims' lives over the past episodes, you might be wanting my verdict as to whether I will continue this series and will our Sims live on. All in all, I'd say my Sims accomplished what the experiment set out to do, and between them, they managed to perfectly show how what we assume has tremendous impact on our lifestyle, the risks we choose to take, and even our overall well being. So, this series will end here as I embark with my sim on new adventures. You'll still see my sim Gisele and even Sushi return. However, we will no longer be needing two versions of them in the future, and so I had to reluctantly choose between the two which of them will carry on in the game. Whichever of them remains, they will likely be stripped of their cash and belongings as well as their house and have to start over in accordance to the rules of our new game. So tune in next time to a new series involving our forever young sim and her cat Sushi, where they will face new challenges, make a new home, and take altogether different adventures to the ones that they have lived up to now. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe not to miss out on the new adventures.